I'm waiting for Facebook StreamYard to tell me. Awesome, we are live. Greetings, readers and travelers, and welcome to another episode of Stats on Stats. My name is Richie Stevens, and we are back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We had a fantastic time at DragonCon. We took a little, about a month off just so we could recoup because our last episode was with Jeff Hayes, and that was right before we went to DragonCon. But it's funny enough that we're bringing up Jeff Hayes because Jeff Hayes is the narrator for a series or two that is written by Mr. Charles Dean, who is our guest of honor tonight. Charles,
Hey, how you doing?
Charles, how you
I'm the
doing?
guy who wrote the series or two that Jeff Hayes narrated.
Is it a series or two? Okay.
I'm actually trying to think because he did War Eternus, which was 5 books, and
And
then
Heroic Villain, right?
Heroic Villain, which was
Okay,
three.
I couldn't remember if Justin Thomas James took over Heroic Villain or not.
No, it was Jeff Hayes. I would love to have a project where I get a chance to work with uh, Justin, smooth voice, Thomas James, like
Buttery smooth.
the
Buttery
Canadian.
smooth.
Yeah, he's Canadian chocolate. Like he is absolutely smooth on the ears and does everything perfectly. Like he's amazingly talented. So I would love a chance to work with him. One of the downsides to being an author, though, is I write very slowly, and there are a ton of narrators that are incredibly amazing that I want to work with. So it's like they can pump out the books really fast. I'm sitting here like I'll see you guys in 6 months. So I haven't gotten a chance to work with them all.
All right. And we already got some viewers in the chat. And of course, TJ Lombardi is coming in with the Let's Quack and Go. TJ, we love you. Thank
I
you for
hate
tuning
being
in.
the idiot here. Where's it streaming on Facebook?
Lit RPG Legion is where we're streaming, just in the group. So people will have to request to join. I'm not sure how quickly we can get them in, but we'll do our best. Anyways, and as always, joining me is my co host, Joel
That's me.
Harvey.
Hi.
I don't have a grand introduction. I kind of worn out on the grand introductions for you. You're just Joel here. But we also have
That's
some
fair.
people in the chat on Twitch as well that I can't intertwine because bills are horribly, you know, piling up. But we have, I'm pretty sure Demi's in the chat. Hi, Demi. And we got Avid Play. Welcome in. So, Charles, you did mute yourself on accident, I think, or
I didn't mute myself on accident. I didn't want
oh,
the double, like I didn't want it to echo when I opened up the other stream.
oh, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Anyways, hi guys, how we doing?
I think Dimitri Shadow is that's
Brandon.
Brandon, right?
Yeah, it's Brandon.
Oh, excellent.
That's our boy. Which, funny enough, so Brandon I met in Chris Dagny's server, or Christopher Johns, High Table Hijinks and Axe Druid. And it turns out Brandon and I grew up like not even 20 minutes apart. Like he was the next town over from me. His school kind of kicked our ass in football, as he likes to put it, but it depends on the year. Now, probably, because our team sucks. Anyways, so we are here to discuss some lit RPG books. And
Hell yeah.
Charles, you've written a few series.
Yeah, I think
That right?
I started publishing first in 2014, and we moved over to Amazon in 2015, and that was
Okay.
fun. It was weird because I didn't expect to actually do anything on Amazon, and so when I wrote my first book, I remember talking to one of my editors, and I was like, "I'll give you you've edited this book the whole way through. I really appreciate your help on it. I'll pay you with a plate of chicken fingers and a beer."
I
And he
like
was like,
chicken
"That's fine
fingers.
with his friends." And then the book took off, and I was like, "Okay, so maybe I owe you a little bit more than a plate of chicken fingers and a beer." I had to go back and be like, "I don't think that's going to work. We're going to have to rediscuss that." It would be fair, but it was an amazing experience because I think one out of like 100,000 authors ever really make any money past like $5. So I had no expectations when I started writing with RPG. I just did it because if you guys remember this book called Moonlight Sculptor,
Mm-hmm.
I was working and I helped some people translate some parts of Moonlight Sculptor, Legendary Moonlight Sculptor, and I loved that a lot. And I thought I could probably write something a little bit better, or at least I could probably write something on my own that would have the twists and turns that I love. And so let me give that a try. And it turned out well. I was surprised that people liked what I wrote.
Well, we love your books. I mean, so how I got introduced to Charles Dean was I was on a Jeff Hayes kick on Audible during the pandemic.
Oh, I thought it was when I just walked up to you and I was like, "Hey, are you drinking?"
Well, okay. That was at Dragon Con. I meant your books. Also, welcome in Facebook user. Not sure who you are, so I have to open up Facebook to see that. Hit the link, please. But yeah, like working through all of these fun COVID times, and I was on overnight, so I was listening to audiobooks constantly while I worked, and I couldn't figure out what to do. Oh, it's Brandon. Hi, Brandon.
Hmm. I like
So
that comic. I do remember that long after the novel was written, they started making a manhwa of it, which I've always got to remember. There's manga, there's manhwa, and there's man like hua. Like I don't know how to put the HUA
manhwa.
manhwa, like the Chinese sound. I cannot do that.
So Brian is saying I need to ask you about
Avian ribcage. Oh, I
avian
think I was the
ribcage.
one who. Brian, were you the one who sat through and we talked about how to eat pigeon?
He, you would know Brian. He very tall, and
Oh,
also
I
will
love
kill
Brian.
everyone with fire. So
Yeah, I don't remember who I was talking to, but at one point during the podium meetup, I was just talking about how to cook birds.
did he have a very thick Irish accent? Because that was probably
Oh, I
Brian.
know who's Brian. I don't know who I was talking to. Like they kept passing out free drinks and free foods. They would walk past me, and there was this lovely waitress. I cannot remember what her name was, but she was absolutely wonderful. And she kept walking up to me, and she'd be like, "Here, have some food," and I'd be like, "Yes." And then she'd be like, "Would you like me to get you some drink?" And I'd be like, "Yes." And then Lars showed up, and he was like, "I've got a drink with you, so let me get you a drink." And I was like, "Okay." And then Steve Campbell showed up, and he was like, "I've got to get a drink with you." And I was like, "All right." And then I forget who the other three people who showed up and were like, "I have to get a drink with you." But eventually, I was like, I need trouble walking. I'm going to go to the West End and sit down. I've had a lot of drink.
And that was what the that was the same night as the fantasy gathering, wasn't it?
I believe it was. Oh, actually, we did go to the fantasy gathering afterwards.
Yeah, because that's when I met up with you guys, and I walked back to the hotel with you guys to the bar, because that's where everyone was hanging up.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
really awkward
Ooh,
moment.
we got Grayson Sinclair in the chat. Grayson, welcome in. Sorry, I'm excited because this is our first episode back. Joel, you doing okay over there?
Yeah. No, I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't ask. Don't care.
You did.
There's
I
literally
will
no
come
proof
through
of
this
that.
camera and smack you.
I really enjoyed the fantasy thing because it was some of the best costumes were. I forget what that building was. I think it was called the Hilton. I think it was the one at the Hilton.
Weston.
No, the one at the fantasy was a different one, and we had to go down to the bottom of it.
Oh, Hyatt.
The height. Either way, they had some of the most amazing costumes in the lobby, and I remember like running into an entire like squad. I think I posted the picture of it, like just a whole squad of mushroom men and a princess and Mario, and I'm just sitting here like this is amazing. Like we ran into uh like the the big Bioshock dude and the girl next to him, and I was
Big
like,
Daddy and Little Sister.
yeah, the
Can we
costumes.
talk about in the Hyatt though all the rat or the T Rexes, like
Mm-hmm.
the inflatable T Rexes outfits? There were too many of them.
Yeah, and they all just sat around and did this weird inflatable T-Rex dance. And I'm sitting here watching this thing, like I don't know what I'm supposed to feel at this. Like on one hand, a single T-Rex outfit is cool. On another hand, when it reaches that many, you're like, oh, so it's become very trite. Like this is so cliche, everybody does it. But on the other hand, watching them dance made it go from cliche back to like this is hilarious. It's like, okay, it's overdone, but dancing T-Rexes.
So
And
looking at the chat really quickly, we also have Dave Bushman and of course our favorite mod Zeckler in the chat. So welcome in, guys. And then of course Joel texts me slap. So TJ, he kind of did for you if that helps. And then it's a cult. Okay, Brandon, you're right. It probably is. So let's talk some books.
Yeah.
Let's talk some books. Joel, did you do a partial re-listen?
I did. I did a re-listen for War Turnus. And
Hell
I'm
yes.
glad I did because man, I have not read that one in a while since like last time you had me read through it,
Before
which
our
was
like
like
second or third episode.
yeah, like a
Okay.
couple years ago. Um, but no, that series is fantastic.
It's a good series. It's a really, really good series. And of course, it's performed by Mr. Jeff Hayes over at Sound Booth Theater, and it is fantastic. Started a re-listen to it of book one today because I was like, do I want to listen to Death's Favorite Warlock or do I want to listen to some War Eternus? And I was, War Eternus one. So I screenshotted it, sent it to Charles, and he said only chapter one. And this was at like noon today. And I was like, it's a re-listen. He goes, okay, well then, here's the question. And I was like, and I answered it. And he goes, I meant to be killed. And I was like, oh, here's the other answer.
Wait,
Yeah, which is the final FMC to die? Yeah, I'll go ahead and say the question. Like, we will not give any answers.
Yeah.
But that's the question I asked him. I was like, if anybody read the book all the way through, that's a legitimate question.
Yeah, and I've read the books all the way through. Now, granted, it's been a while since I've done a complete read through, and I still remembered that because it emotionally destroyed me. So
I'm very happy to hear that. I like to know that the people that read my book had some horrible emotional scarring that I got to be a part of. That's every author's dream. I think we all like stay up at
man.
night and we're just like, can I get 10,000 people to read my story and feel emotional damage? And that's what I go for. And I try to nail that down in the coffin. I'm like, all right, we're gonna sit this through. Like Heroic Villain. I don't think I achieved that because I had to cut that series a little bit short.
it was still really good.
Yeah, it was always meant to be open ended too.
Smooch,
Football was
smooch,
on.
quack, quack. TJ, have fun watching football. We're
Oh,
better.
who's playing? He can't just leave and say football is on without saying who's playing.
Yeah, he's probably already gone. I don't know. DJ, who's playing? If you're still here,
No,
I'll
he's
just
all
message him.
right.
just
Yeah,
message
no,
him.
it's a fun experience to try to like meet my fans who are like I had an emotional reaction to a book because it's like I put words on a paper. I didn't expect that. That's
No, there's a lot of emotional moments in the series, and of course, the performance it
yeah.
really slaps a lot harder. And
So
like I said, this was my early Jeff Hayes like listen because at that point I think I had only listened to most of Dave Wilmart's stuff. So Grayson or the Greystone Chronicles and whatever was out for Shadow Sun. I think only the first two books were out at that point. And I was like, wow, I want to keep going with the Jeff Hayes kick. So I just searched it, and yours was the first one to pop up, and I was like, oh, this looks really interesting. And holy hell, it was an experience. I listened to partway through book one, and then I bought the rest of the books at that point. Tampa Bay and Philly are playing, according to TJ.
awesome. You guys are probably, I hate saying this, y'all are probably the experts on those books by now because I haven't touched them since
Welcome in,
2019.
Brian.
I don't know if other authors do this. Like, maybe other authors go back and reread their stuff, but I have to like take vigorous amounts of notes because I try to never reread my book if I don't have to. Like, once it's published, I'm like, all right, I'm only going to go back to this if I have to grab the information for another book.
yeah.
That's
I
fair.
mean, we probably haven't touched it in like a couple years, so. But
And I mean, I
War
did a
Eternus
re-listen.
has some of my favorite characters. I do remember this, and going through my re-listen, I was like, man, I missed Miller. I missed Jade. Like, some of my favorite characters are in War
Jade doesn't
Eternus.
show up until what, book
3.
2 or 3?
Book 3.
Yeah.
Because she's mentioned in book 2 towards the end.
Well,
And
book 1
then-
is Link.
Right.
And then book 2 is Amber. And then book 3 is Jade.
And then
and then
Misha
4
comes in book.
Well, she's in all of them, but she
Yeah.
comes at the end of book 1. And then book 4 is really the
Dave,
solidification
thank you for the sub.
of Bridget. And then book 5 is Ophelia.
There's a lot of good characters. And subsequently enough, It was my first unintentional harem.
I would like to say that it's not too much of a harem.
It's Fade to Black harem, but
No, there was the graphic scene with Jade.
oh, there was. Oh shit, I did forget about that.
The Nintendo cartridge references. It was an entire page of sex puns.
Mm-hmm. I
There's
forgot about that.
the scene. I want to say it's in book 5 where uh the gods they left the connection with Lee and Jadon while they're doing stuff.
Augustus and oh, what is Jade's
Mary,
deities?
like Bloody Mary.
Augustus and Mary.
Augustus
Yeah.
and Mary. Because I almost said the other name Augustus goes by, and I was like, no, probably shouldn't say that one.
Nope.
But okay, so here I'll put it this way: if anyone is interested in starting the series that we are discussing and wants the complete series, we're gonna do a giveaway at some point tonight, where you can just get the entire series on Audible. Charles was nice enough to give us codes, so I don't know, Charles. How do you want people to enter this? Because
I mean, I don't care. Whatever you feel like. If Aka Davio subscribed with Prime, so if you feel like giving it to him just because he subscribed with Prime, I'm fine with that. Like, just whoever wants to read it and hasn't given it a shot, by all means.
Harmon Cooper's in the chat. Harmon,
Is he?
fucking Cooper's in the chat. All right, hi Harmon. He's a Facebook user,
yeah.
but it's
Harmon Cooper's one of my he was so funny. Him and Jeff had me like in stitches.
I got a recording of Jeff and Matt. I got the picture of Harmon and Jeff, though. That was Harmon's Facebook profile picture for a little bit.
Harmon showed up so for those people who don't know, they were
Zeckler,
doing
no feet pics. No feet
they were
pics.
doing this game show, like one of those dating game shows, and Harmon Cooper shows up with Jeff Hayes dressed exactly the same, with these like funny glasses, full on in character. Oh God, what's that character's name? It's the
Quantum Hughes.
Yeah, no, the other one though. Quantum and
Evan.
Yeah, Evan. That's it. I'm sorry. Quantum.
His personal
I never remember the other
health
one.
associate.
And so they show up in full character and they do
No
the
fucking feet pics.
thing as if they were those two people, and it was hysterical, which was great because the hostess was not. And like the hostess and the contestant were just so boring, and then I'm just like everybody I felt like was just waiting for Harmon and Jeff to come back on. They were like, come on. Like you had the hostess girl, you had this weird guy who was like really into himself being schizo or something.
Bye, Brando. I'm calling you Brando. I don't give a fuck. I messed it up.
Potatoes. Can I get the steaks and potatoes, Brandon? Like you don't need to go elsewhere. Just deliver them to me.
Charles, when he comes up to visit, we'll just come over. We'll just come over and visit you. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds great. We'll just all get together and
All
have
right,
a big
cool.
barbecue.
Because then you can sign my book.
Oh, sure. I've actually got a book here. I got one for Angel Ramon that I forgot to deliver. So, we'll just give you his.
I don't want to take Angel's book.
I wouldn't do that to Angel.
Angel's a delight.
Dude, that Angel Ramon is one of my favorite authors in terms of the fact that first you could see he's progressing a lot. He's going out of his way. He's improving like crazy every single time he writes a new book. You can tell he's studying his craft. He's studying facts. He's getting the stuff together. He writes like nonstop, but also he just randomly goes around encouraging people. Like I feel like that's his day job. He's just like, I'm gonna go around sending messages about how great people are. I'm like,
Angel is an absolute delight. I've gotten to interact with him a few times through TJ streams, and he's so freaking wholesome. And plus, his books are really good.
Hold on a second.
So, because he just released Pina Colada and Rats 2, I want to say. That just came out.
Does subscribe with Prime mean that I can use my Amazon Prime to make a subscription?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Woo!
I'm
Charles
coming
Dean
on
with
here.
the
I'm
sub.
paying you guys ahead of time. I'm paying for this. This is now a paid sponsored visit. I don't know how much you guys get, like 20 cents?
I honestly don't know. I can look afterwards. All right. Hey, Grayson, go to the link in the bio and just connect so that way we can see that it's you typing. Please and thank you, buddy. Love you.
No,
Because you're coming up on the show as well soon. We actually have a lot of lineups that I haven't told Joel about yet. So,
Um,
oops.
how am I supposed to be caught up on what we're going over? No, it's
Okay, the one that's booked for the end of the month though, you have been like begging for me to get on, so I got it. Just
hype.
okay.
The hype is real, guys.
I know you're all caught up on their books because I'm saying there because I don't want you to know who it is. So, anyways,
See what I have to deal
Charles,
with.
who was your favorite character to write in War Eternus?
Oh, in War Eternus, Augustus. I really liked writing Augustus because I sort of copied him off of another character, which props if you can figure out who it is, but it is one of the characters from Shakespeare. Well, actually, every character in War Eternus is from Shakespeare.
All right, now you're. Oh shit, Joel, did we tell him what my senior project was?
Go for it.
Where I had to film, direct, and edit my own videos on how to interpret Shakespeare's work for the incoming freshmen. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So, fuck. Okay,
Wait,
Augustus.
did you do the Shakespeare in 20 minutes or something like that?
We did Shakespeare in three. We did Hamlet in 3 minutes as an episode too.
How about Merchant of Venice?
Jay boys, Jay, go click the link in the description so we know it's you. I'm gonna say Augustus or Augustus.
Oh, I love Jay Boyce's new art profile picture. Like that is amazing.
Jay is amazing. All right, so Avid is saying Augustus was Brutus. I wanted to say Othello, but I know that's not right.
You know what? One of these days, I'll tell you if you're right.
Macbeth?
We'll be here all night if you keep trying. But I had to steal a lot of his lines and transfer them over. So like I would take a line and the line would have like 20 words written by Shakespeare, and I would make sure that only 8 of those words survived, put 12 of my own, make it a whole new line, and then build a whole paragraph or dialogue around that line. And that's kind of how I try to like interpret these characters. So there was a character named Locke in my book Merchant of Tikpa, and that was a lot more on the nose. Like all the characters were named, and even when I put it on the nose and I had every single character named off of who I was mocking, no one got it. So I'm like, whatever. We can just slide by.
But now they know.
Jessica was the name.
Jessica, the name was invented in Merchant of Venice. Merchant of Venice is one of the greatest books of all time. I stand
so
by
good.
that. But I really hate the ending. I always hated that Shylock ended up just like screwed. It's like not only did he lose his revenge, he lost his fortune, he lost his like citizenship or right to be in the city practically. Like he's on a
But
freaking.
Merchant of Venice is a comedy, isn't it? It's not a tragedy.
It's considered a comedy because it's not a Christian that loses.
It's considered a comedy because no one really dies.
I don't know, man. That guy's soul was dead at the end. Like his daughter was off banging some dude.
I mean, all of our souls are dead at this point, so potato.
I mean, just listen. Like, look at the first 3 things. Then his daughter's off banging this guy that he hates, and everything is like, yep, his whole business is gone. Everything is gone for this guy. And they're like, yeah, but you have a chance at being a Christian, so it's okay. Have faith. I was like, nah, man. Give him a little bit more love.
I was gonna say one of my favorite lines I think comes from Much Ado About Nothing, and it's and what was the crime or what was he caught doing? And the guy just replies, "A woman." Every time I just crack up because I have like 3 or 4 copies of the complete works of William Shakespeare. And
Okay,
Mr. Brown,
King Lear was my dad's favorite, so you have great taste, man.
King
That is
Lear's
an amazing
good.
one. I think King Lear is one of those that you have to read at least 2 or 3 times to fully appreciate because
There's a lot that happens. There's a lot that
very
happens in that
dense.
one.
But when I first read it, I totally missed half of the things. It was like when I was reading, I think it was Hamlet, and I had to go look up like every single word. Like it'd be like "phi" and "fishmonger" and stuff like that. And I'm sitting here in like 4th grade, like, okay, let's go through. What does "phi" mean? What does "fishmonger"
See,
mean?
I like my editions that I have. That it like has a directory off to the side of okay, here's what was said. All right, what do these words mean? Why am I not surprised that I come into a conversation conversation, and Charles, you're talking about Shakespeare because we have class.
Well, it's also because he wanted to talk about good books, and I was like, I don't have
Grayson,
them. I know
it is
some.
working.
Actually, I think I would.
So-
I think I would pay money to hear. I think I would pay money to hear Brian Norden read King Lear.
Hey Brian, we got to do an episode now where we just read Shakespeare. Can we? Brian, come on.
Just him reading King Lear, and maybe get some a girl to do the dual narration for the female parts. Somebody who has. Oh my God! If we could get like him and Jeff Hayes and Andrea, and just have them do King Lear, that would be. Oh, that'd be so much.
Sound Booth Theater presents.
I'd listen.
Don't tell me you wouldn't listen to it.
Oh, I would. I would listen to it in a heartbeat. Brian is Irish Booth Theater.
I don't think.
Oh my God.
I remember meeting Brian and being like, "This guy is absolutely amazing. I'm sure he's the best narrator out there, almost." And then he was like, "So I write books," and I was like,
Brian, Charles, it's good you're making that face during this comment.
"Okay, thank you. I am old man with dementia. Thank you." But no, like you've got to admit, when Brian first talked to you, you were like, "This is a narrator," and then he was like, "I'm Brian. I'm the book writer," and you're just like,
Well, he does his first reads in the in the Lit RPG Legion group sometimes, and it's really good.
"I'm gonna have to come into that group just for that."
So-
Does he doing it on Discord?
I'll send you an invite. It's
Is it on?
no,
Discord?
you used to do them on Facebook. It was 1 week it would be Jez's like conversation, and then the next would be like Brian's first reads. He did the one. I think the first one I got to tune into was Kevin Sinclair's Oshbob before Artem dropped, and I was like, oh, I'm sold. And I went to Royal Road and read like half of it in one night.
I picked up Brian's book on the way home because
Quest Academy is so damn good.
Oh, I was like, I didn't
So
realize
fucking good.
I didn't realize I
Next
was in the
week,
presence
guys.
of genius the entire time. Here I am joking around with the guy, and he's like,
Or no,
you
not
don't-
next week.
We don't have Brian booked yet. We're
Okay.
still waiting on that one, but that is an episode that is coming.
Let's get
Yeah,
done.
Brian Norton's books are fantastic. You're in for a great treat. I loved it start to finish.
Oh yeah, we
Would
got
rec-
book talk and sarcasm. What's up, Joseph?
Well, I'm not going to give a rating because people hate my ratings, but I would recommend highly to anybody.
It's highly recommended from us here at Stats on Stats. That is a Stats on Stats approved book. I brought my book down for Brian to sign and actually have a video of him smacking me with it.
Oh, that's fun.
So, oh, it's great.
And I used to give ratings to people's books, and then Ramon told me really quickly that people hate that, and I learned that the hard way, and I never give another rating to another book. I was like, we're done.
I don't do the rating system like out of 10 or out of 5 or whatever.
Mhm.
I just say it's really good or it's not my cup of tea.
That's the best way to do it. Well, not saying it's not your cup of tea. I would just not say anything. It's easier. Like I would say, I love Jade Boyce's books, and then there's another author. I'd be like, and just leave it mute. Like if you can't say anything kind, don't say anything at all.
That is fair. That is fair. I've always just said, like, it's good. It's just not for me. That's more of the lines I try to go
When
for.
people hear that, what they hear is, I didn't like that book. They don't hear
That's
it's
fair.
not for me. They don't hear that it's for
That's
another
fair.
audience. I feel like if you were to phrase it like, I think it would be for a person who prefers X, Y, and Z, and you were to
Mm-hmm.
tailor out who you think it would work for, I think then people would really appreciate the commentary. Like if I were to say, like hypothetically, I love Jay Boyce's books because I like the dialogue. I think she moves the characters along really well, and I think that the way she moves her plot through her dialogue is absolutely brilliant. And I may have drank a bit much at this point. I apologize. I'm sorry. I've been sipping the entire time and keep refilling.
You're good. No, we just got a comment on our Twitch, and it's in quotes, and it says, "This book would be great for big dumb jerks."
Okay. Yeah. But if you say like, okay, so those are the things I like about her books, and I think they work really well. So if I were to say I didn't really care for her book because I wasn't the same type of person I am now, then I would say, I think if you really like a good book with dialogue that uses dialogue for progression, you're going to like Jay Boyce's books. would be a better way of saying the book's not for you.
That's fair. That is fair. I'm always looking at ways to improve myself, especially with doing this show and everything. So I don't want to my goal is I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Oh, I do that accidentally.
That's my big thing.
I do it accidentally all the time because I can't read facial expressions, so I'm never sure like when I've stepped over the line. So I know where you're coming from.
That's kind of how I am.
What?
That's how I am, so I get it.
Yeah. Were you blind as a child, so you just never picked up on those cues?
Nope, I was just awkward.
Oh, that's even better. My books are not okay. J Boy says they're not everybody's cup of tea. Well, that's just because some people prefer coffee, and they're wrong. Tea is better, but they're right to be wrong. It's their right.
Jay, we love you here at Stats on Stats, so we hope that counts. So, Joel.
Yeah.
Joel, let's start over to you real quick because we probably should talk about one of your favorite things, which is mechanics. What are the mechanics like for this book?
Mechanics for war.
Since you're sitting with the guy who wrote the mechanics.
I mean, they're pretty fire. Basically, a character gets chosen, and by a god, and he's like, "Hey, represent me in this world. This world is a game world," so the characters have classes. They have, like skills. They have levels, and it's like a basic lit RPG, but the way it like goes about with like the gods, it I don't know, it makes it seem really well connected. Like I love his
I'm surprised
Gollum
Little Ethan.
you show
creation.
Evan some fucking respect. Evan the mouse is the coolest fucking character.
Yeah, that's what I said. I love his Gollum creation skills.
I was gonna say when you said Gollum, you didn't give the name. You gotta give Evan the name.
Okay,
He's not
Evan.
a Gollum. He is Evan.
He's a mouse Gollum.
Named Evan.
uh
He's a little Despero down there.
No, but as you could tell, the characters in this book, you can get so attached to them that you can't help but fight for them. No, but
Charles, is it irritating when fans change the name of your characters like Butter Pasture?
I don't
I'm
know
so
why.
confused.
I am very confused of why you keep calling the mouse Evan.
His name is Evan.
No, it's not.
ooh,
It's Little Ethan.
Ethan. Yep.
Ethan, god damn it.
When he started talking about the Gamma, I was like, "Oh, you mean Little Ethan?" And you're like, "You call him Evan," and I was just like, "Okay." Sorry.
I'm calling him Evan. Fuck.
I was like, "I didn't mean to interrupt your name." You know what? If he wants to be Evan to you, he can be Evan. It's Little Ethan, and I loved. One of my fans sent me some art. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's in the Spoiled Rotten Readers.
I'll have to look.
I'm gonna drag it up.
My face is red now.
But I was just sitting there. I was like, "Why do I have to call him Evan?" I swear, Little Ethan's not a bad name. Let's see if I can't.
This
grab
shows
it.
you that I am not. I've had a long day. All right, I'm done.
I'm sorry.
Show's over. Everyone have fun. Oh fuck.
Okay. But yeah, no, I say
Here you go.
mechanics for good.
If I send you the art on Facebook, can you load it so they can see it? I don't know if that works.
Yeah, I can download it and show it.
The characters are
so
way,
fucking cute.
way good.
Oh my god, he's so fucking cute. All right, hold on. So, where's my share screen option?
I rename characters a lot by accident too. So Ramon and I co-write, and hold on a second, I ran out again. I always love the sound of
Share screen,
alcohol
here we go.
pouring. All right. Ramon and I co-write, and while we co-write, we end up having to come up with names, but then we go back and we're like, okay, so one of my favorite people, like I love this guy, is Nicholas LeBron. He's a great guy. And we chat all the time, and so I thought I was gonna kill him in the book. I was like, I'm gonna kill this guy, Nicholas LeBron.
Look at him, little Ethan, Evan.
That's pretty great.
Little Evan. We'll call him Little Evan for you. I thought it
Right,
would be
well,
fun.
when I have a lot of damn books in my head, names get crossed.
Yeah, that was a picture that one of my fans sent me. He sent me several. He sent me another one too, if I can dig this one up, which is he was pissed off at the end of War Eternus. And so I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end to anyone who hasn't read it.
I like the ending.
But he sent me this particular alternative photo. And he says, this is what you're like. So you can see my background right now.
Okay, hold on. Yep, hold on.
And he
I got
sent me
this.
this alternative photo of what he thought should have been the end. And I was like, I don't think it would have worked as well. I think it wouldn't have had the same punch.
There we go. I agree. I definitely agree.
Oh, show us the
And I think we got
chalice slash goblet you're drinking from. It is just a standard silver chalice. That's it. It's just a standard silver goblet. I got this from one of my. I raided the cabinet of one of my family members, and I've kept it since. Some people might call it thievery. I like to believe that I didn't steal it. I requisitioned it rightfully from the spoils of war I was due.
on the link.
Oh, there's Shammy. Oh, Shammy is such an awesome
Yeah.
person.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
She is an absolute delight. I got to meet her and John both at Dragon Con. I messaged Shammy on Twitter. I was like, hey, are you here? We have to meet up because I told her beforehand that I wanted to.
Yeah, I did the
meet
same
her.
thing, and I had to track her down to like a restaurant where her and her husband were.
Oh.
So Ramon and I tracked her down to a restaurant.
Shit, we got to
where
behave now. We
Who's that?
have to behave now.
Oh,
Geneva's in the chat. Shit.
Yeah, we're drinking. with Charles.
Everyone be on your best behavior. We have been very decent tonight, Geneva. No mishaps or anything. I promise. Shit, no one tell her.
Yeah, but I got to meet Shammy and her husband, who I had read Elf Empire on the way to Dragon Con. I thought it was really well done. It shows incredible promise, and he's a great writer, and I can't wait to see his future books. But when I met the guy, and I knew Shammy for a long time because I'm always sending I chat with her on Facebook a lot, and so I was really excited to meet her. And then when I finally did, and I met her husband, I was like, this guy is going to be my friend. He doesn't know it, but he's going to be one of my best friends. He just hasn't figured that out yet. We're going to tell him later. We're going to tell John Stalvall later that he's set to be one of my best friends, and it's just going to be weird. I'm just going to be like, hey, buddy. Him and Stephen Landry and Tori. I think it's Tori.
Yeah, it's Tori.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Tori. Yeah.
No, they were great. We got to pick them up on the way down because they rode down with us, and it was an absolute blast. We were listening to part of the Butcher's Masquerade on the way down.
Oh,
and
were you with us when we snuck into the actual aquarium?
No, I was working.
How about were you with us when we snuck into the where we just bypassed all the lines and went straight into the actual what do you call it, the booths? We were just like, that line.
I was already in.
Mm-hmm.
No, you were telling me about that you had just gotten on the elevator and walked right in.
Walked through every place. Like I think by the end of it, I had snuck into like 5 places, and I was just starting to like really enjoy the thrill of it. I was like, what can I sneak myself into? I felt like a rogue in Baldur's Gate 3, being like, am I gonna pass this check? Am I gonna pass this check? Yes. And you know what was the punishment? Like if they caught me, what would they do? Be like, you need to exit.
Okay, I'll go back around.
I'll go back to the 9. I promise.
See, my first day, or when I went into the booth for the first time, I got stung by a bee on my tongue, so that was an experience. Yeah. I went to take a drink of my Mountain Dew. It landed on the can. I didn't see it. Felt something squirm around inside. And I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then think, I screamed, "Ow!" Ryan DeBruyne looked at me and he goes, "Yeah, people are definitely going to take you seriously now."
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I want to tell you that the bees do not appreciate that type of action. It's non-consensual.
Listen, okay,
No, you don't need to justify.
yeah, I rolled a nat one.
Get out of that sticker. You just need to stop. Don't do that again.
Joseph, no.
Yeah, just don't do that
Anyways, so book. War Eternus.
You guys have questions?
It's really fucking good, I promise.
Did you have any questions on it, like spoiler ones? I'm willing to spoil the hell out of it.
I don't want to. Honestly, I was wanting to ask about inspirations for the characters, but you kind of.
Well, each character, like one of the things that we did was the Herald system was designed because I really hate reading a lot of lit RPG where, and I mean, I like the books, but I hate when they get to the big fights. And one of my things is, why isn't everybody using magic? Why is it just the main character using magic, or just the main character's antagonist using magic? And so you have like 100 people fighting 100 people, and instead of there being like lightning bolts in all fucking directions, part of my language, freaking directions.
No, we were.
I don't know what Twitch's policy is. I'm just gonna try to be on the.
I've been cursing up a fucking storm, so you're good.
Okay.
Just no slurs is all I ask. Nothing that's gonna piss someone off, I guess.
Okay, what is a slur? Can you give me some examples?
No.
Sorry. Anyway, you got like 100 people in each direction, and they're somehow all melee, and they somehow all use the same skills, and it's really boring. And I'm sitting here reading this like, where's the guy with the lightning bolts and the fireballs? Like, I don't know if you guys ever played the old school MMOs, specifically Shadowbane, or
I didn't get to play Shadowbane. I did Silk Road.
Terrible game now, but it was good in 2003.
I did Silk Road and RuneScape were my first MMOs.
But
and then of course
does RuneScape have PvP?
Yeah, it has PvP areas.
So have you ever had like maybe Dayak? Did you ever play Dark Ages of Camelot?
No, I didn't. The first so let me put it this way. The first MMO I got to do PvP in was World of Warcraft during Burning Crusade and Lich King. So still kind of in the early days.
So, but the problem with World of Warcraft PvP, and this is not hating on World of Warcraft early days, because I think vanilla World of Warcraft was so good. Like the reason it became the everything has to be the WoW killer was because it did so much right.
It
and
did.
Everybody really hated. They were like, "Oh, I want the open world PvP back," and I was like, "No, you don't. You really freaking don't, because the average person wants to get to 60 or get to their level cap, and then they want to PvP, and they want to keep those different like zones separated. They want to chill out. And whenever you mix like PvP and PvE, it's really great for the people who like PvP. It's really terrible for the people who just worked a 10-hour day and want to chill out and farm.
See, what I had to do in those situations was when I was playing, at least, you actually had to toggle to turn on PvP for those areas. So if you didn't have that on, you could not be attacked by other players, and you couldn't attack other players, obviously. And well, I liked that.
I was the a-hole in Deathwing. That was me and my level 40 buddies who were all like rogues. We're like, hee, as we ganked like level 60 paladins. Or not paladins, shamans with the stun locks and stuff. Like we were jerks. And I totally get that. I was also the reason some people didn't want to play the game anymore. Because when you want a PvP and the other person doesn't want a PvP, they're just not going to play the game anymore. And once you decrease your player base to a certain amount, the game stops becoming viable. So I'm not hating on World of Warcraft at all, but it had very small PvP. Like I think the PvP arenas got up to like 40 versus 40 at most, and I was still feeling epic. Like I'm not going to say that didn't feel epic, but it wasn't.
Jeff Hayes has entered the chat.
It wasn't Shadowbane, where I remember one of my first. I know this. You know this sucker Charles. Oh, by the way, Jeff Hayes is absolutely like my favorite person ever. Almost like that guy is amazing.
He's a fucking delight.
And despite the fact that he's only like 5'9", I promise you, he is a perfectly average sized person.
He is fucking wholesome. I loved the moments I got to spend time with Jeff and just talk with him, because he's just a genuinely genuinely good fucking person. So
Oh,
yeah,
Jeff Hayes, and I know this is going to sound like a weird group, but Jeff Hayes, Blaze, Corbin, and Ramon and I, or Ramon are like my three favorite people to just chill out and have a beer with on a Friday. Like
that's fair.
they're absolutely like some of my favorite people to do voice chats with. Mainly because if you like Blaze especially is incredibly versed in every knife possible, and he has the plethora of knowledge of like weapons and guns. And as somebody who's like stuck in the middle of like suburbia, I'm always like, yes, how does that gun work when it's hitting somebody? Like I'm not like these military vets who have like this incredible knowledge. Where the
Where the fuck did he get the extra?
I just couldn't stop laughing because Jeff Hayes seems like an incredibly normal person in height. And then we went into Dragon Con where everybody was like 6'1" and 6'3" and 6'2", and I was just
I'm
like,
just 6 foot even at this point. Joel's my short man.
I am very short.
He's a short king, and we love him. Well, I don't. He's an asshole to me, but other people seem to.
yeah. But looping back, when you play those games, you see magic, and it's so amazing, and the magic is everywhere. But your character also dies super fast. Your character doesn't live 20 seconds. He doesn't live 10 seconds. Like I've been in some fights where it was 2,500 versus like 800 and Shadowbane, and the servers were crashing. But every 3 seconds you were alive, somebody died. Your party members were just getting exploded, like just so much AoE damage. And then you read these books where they all have these spells, and you're like, okay, how does that get managed? And so when I thought about War Eternus, I was like, well, what if we just take the magic and we make it super light so that only like the heralds get the super magic? What if we make a system where only like one person on each side has the super magic? So then when the guy's fighting the antagonist, it's not out of proportion. It doesn't like break your, I don't know how to put this. It doesn't break your like your buy-in. Your like it doesn't break the believability of the book.
Right.
Don't say a lot of words with B while you're drinking.
Baby back ribs.
Oh, well, my baby back ribs.
There you go. See, you said a bunch of B words. There you go.
I did not say the B word.
No, you did a really good job with the combat system and everything. And obviously, when we're introduced to Lee at the very beginning of the book, and he has, what is it, the noob sword or every noob sword or something? What Augustus gives him
fighting a zombie.
when he's fighting the zombie.
The Monty Python references that just
I
I did
love
like 50 of them in one
Of
chapter.
course.
The
You,
teeth
do you have a holy
and
hand grenade
claws.
on you?
And
No, I would have saw that.
I'm almost positive it's like I haven't read the book since 2017 when I published it, but I'm almost positive the zombie was named Brian.
I don't remember what the zombie's name was, and I just listened to it.
You did. That's why I'm surprised. Come on, man.
I messed up Ethan's fucking name. So, are we trusting me with names right now?
Well, he does, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm trusting you with names. What is the name of the zombie?
Fuck, let me pull up my Kindle.
Now you're cheating, man. Come on. What's the name of the zombie?
I think you're right. I think it is Brian.
Yeah.
Because he even makes it, because he says brains, and he goes brains, and he goes, what? Do you think that's all I want because I'm dead?
It's like you need brains.
You need brains.
You know, I actually, this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I've already started working on it. I'm thinking about writing out and sending Jeff Hayes the chapters for War Eternus's potential sequel, which will be centered around Augustus and Mary.
Hold the fuck. Hold. You can't drop a bombshell like that on me and not get me excited. Because look, we even got Jeff excited. Exclamation point. That's what, 6, 7. I don't know. My screen's tiny. I can't see it. Jeff, convince him. Work your magic. I'll send you the link.
About this, while drunk, he probably doesn't remember it because he was trying out what I like to call guava cider, as is the best cider possible from the brand he was doing. And I started working on it. Hold on. I'll just send you a quick screen cap so you could see it's there. It's there. You don't get to share this one. This is just me proving that I've actually started working on it.
I won't share this one. I'm just. Woo! Fuck. Oh shit. Okay.
See
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
see
All right.
that thing titled Augustus?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how much more money can I make off War Eternus? That was really what I was thinking the entire time.
Bye, Jay. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh, is Jay leaving? No. All right.
Okay, completely forgiven. So, all right, but per Brian's request, we are gonna switch topics here in a minute to talk about apocalypse stuff because he personally asked or personally said we hope we cover that.
Which
But
Apocalypse? Because I did 2 books recently. I did Upgrade Apocalypse with Ramon, and
he said apocalypse with Ramon, so I'm not sure which one because they're both
and I did
apocalypse.
Apocalypse Regression
Okay.
with Ramon.
Brian, which one are you wanting? Upgrade or regression?
I'm not super proud of Upgrade. It was tough. I was learning how to write with a partner, and Ramon is absolutely one of the most brilliant people I've ever had the grace of talking to, like, and working with. I think he's astounding. But we have very different personalities, and so we get along really well because our personalities don't mesh well. Like we're not, we're not the same person. So like we've got a lot to contribute, and it builds the friendship a lot, and it works. Oh, the badass clock tower cover.
That's regression.
Apocalypse Regression. So Apocalypse Regression. Do you have any questions on it? You can
Bye,
feel free
Joseph.
to ask. But
I have not started regression yet. I need to.
I can give you the summary of the book. Apocalypse Regression is about a guy who, during his first life, is poisoned by his fiance. And the poison,
All been there.
it basically freezes his level, halves his strength, halves his agility, halves his constitution, and stops him from really growing anything but magic. And he doesn't even think about the magic because he's frozen in levels. So even if he switches class, he's never going to be able to learn spells. He's never going to be able to gain EXP. He's never going to be able to like really upgrade himself. And he goes back and he's stuck as an assistant. And so he learns a whole bunch of fighting skills and electric skills and stuff because he has to survive the apocalypse as this guy who is low stats, low level, just trying to like make ends meet. And he does so with the grace of his best friend, Alan. And when Alan builds this machine that sends one person back in time, it's meant to send back the hero so that she can save the world. But she dies because she gets crushed by like 10,000 pounds of dirt, and it just destroys her because, it'd be that way. And so the cave-in crushes her, and then Alan dies too, and he's the only one who's left. Perfect.
Okay. I'm still here. I'm replying to something real quick.
You can claim as much as you like, man. So anyways, it'd be like that sometimes, yeah. So they're in this like massively underground bunker, and so when it starts collapsing, it ends up killing people just from the collapsing weight of like tens of thousands of pounds, just crushing these people. And the only person that's left is the crappy assistant electrician guy who's been like just tinkering with the electrics and doing all the grunt work. And he goes back in time, and when he goes back in time this time, he's already poisoned, but he has the advantage of at least knowing what the poison is, where he didn't the first time. Like he didn't think he was poisoned the first time. The doctors were paid off, and so they told him it was an issue with his constitution. They didn't tell him it was a poison. And then he also has did you bring paperbacks? I did bring paperbacks of Apocalypse Regression to Dragon Con, and I gave them to the 2 people who asked for one, which was Nick Coons and Jeff Hollingsworth.
I think it was Hollingsworth, yeah.
Hollingsworth. So he goes back in time, and he doesn't have like much going on, but he gets like a partial cure that allows him to switch his class, and so he becomes a trainer. And then the rest of the book, he's trying to prepare the hero for the apocalypse. And it's a very far off apocalypse, so it's going to be a very slow burn. I'm expecting this series to hopefully last me 10 books. We'll see how sales do. But I have 10 books planned for it, or 900,000 words total is the goal. And, it's going to be a nice little slow burn. I'm really hoping it pays off. Well, if the sales go well.
Jeff asked if they were print on demand on Amazon.
I think they are. Jeff,
Okay.
If you want a book, man, I'll get you a book and I'll sign it.
Jeff deserves a book. Well, I will say that your choices for narrators, having Daniel Wisniewski and Elizabeth Plant, like perfect people to pick because they
Oh,
are fantastic.
I just got the pleasure of meeting Elizabeth Plant on Facebook because I haven't met her yet until we had worked on our fourth book together. Um, and she is amazing. But Daniel,
I've not
I
gotten to
cannot say his
interact with
last
her.
name. I'm not going to try.
Wisniewski,
That dude is really talented.
dude's a fucking genius.
Oh, I love working with that guy.
We have
Daniel,
had Daniel on the show 3 times now, I think, because I had Joel and I had him on for just talking with him, and then we did an episode with him, or I did an episode with him and Rebecca Woods and Rose Reynolds, and then we did another episode where he was just promoting like stuff he had coming out and everything, and that's when I learned about Upgrade Apocalypse. So that night I went ahead and bought it because I think it had
oh, I'm
just
so
dropped or
sorry. Did
getting
you
ready
read
to
them?
drop. Oh, I liked it. I really liked it. I need to continue the series,
There were
but
some people. There were some people who were very mad with the character Lucy. But if you liked Jade, you're fine with Lucy probably.
I fucking loved Lucy, so I had no issues with her.
Well, Lucy was based on Jade.
Jade's my
I was
favorite.
like,
so-
I want to have Jade in another book, and can we make Jade a depressed or a depressed comic struggling with eating a disorder? And Ramon
We
was
said
like,
his name so many times earlier. He's now in the chat. Angel, welcome in.
Oh, he did sneak up on us. Angel is such a great guy, but you know, Angel, you're gonna have to back up to the first part of the show if you want to see all your compliments.
Okay, I opened Twitter at the wrong fucking time because we're doing a giveaway for Dungeon Crawler Carl right now, and now I'm getting animal and feet pics. So, I fucking hate it here.
Hey, Rich, what are our giveaways right now?
I will get to the giveaways at the end of the episode, fucker. I'm gonna need some bookshelves. I've been collecting them from authors in our community. Jeff, have you seen the picture I've posted of my bookshelf? Because holy fuck. Zekwer, I swear to God, quit telling people that Torres will get 2 entries.
What did Zekler do this time?
He's saying toe rings will get you 2 entries. It's Derek, this guy. He's our mod.
You know, to be fair, I've heard that toe rings do count as 2 entries.
Charles, do not fucking vindicate him.
I've only heard this. I had it on a good authority from this guy Derek and this guy Zekler. They both
I
said
fucking hate it here. I hate it here. TJ's not here to bully me in the chat, so you guys get to. Fuck. So, anyways.
I always wonder with people, like, there was this one girl who used to have toe rings all the time, and I thought that was fine. And she was one of those hippie girls, and I'm an English major, so there was a lot of hippie girls in my classes. But then she complained that her boyfriend was, like, into foot stuff, and I was like, why do you put so much effort in your feet if you don't want the guy to appreciate it? Like, I don't care about feet. They don't do anything for me. But you seem to, because you have, like, 5 different colors of nail polish. I was just curious. 3 nail rings or toe rings and 5 nail polish. I was just like, I have no idea what's going on. And good night, Brian. Thanks for staying up this late.
I hate it here.
L's and R's, man. L's and R's are tough.
Anyways.
I never understood why women put so much effort into nail polish to begin with. It's a weird thing. It's like, I'm just going to paint this one part of my body over and over again. I'm very confused by it. And I ask my wife all the time, I'm like, what do you love about the nail polish? And she's giving me answers. Unfortunately, I'm very dense.
Your first book sold at 7 million. What do you?
Why do you still have a job? His first book was amazing. I
Christ
have a feeling
Academy.
his second and his third.
Fucking
and his fourth book
amazing.
is too.
All right. So since Joel's asked us, we have one giveaway going out tonight. If you want to win a copy, or actually, it's technically 5 audiobooks because it's the entire series of War Eternus, narrated by the talented Jeff Hayes, written by the amazing Charles Dean. Fuck, I don't know what
If you want to win these books, all you have to do is say, I want to win these books. And we will do a random number generator based on who entered first.
All right. Joel.
And no,
I guess
actually, only one person's going to say that.
All right. So we got Corn on
Cornstarch.
Twitch. Cornstarch says, I want to win these books. So let's see if we get any others. Because if not, it's going to be Corn. It's going to be Corn.
What's next? What's the next book coming from you? Well, like I said, there was 2 books. The first is I'm working
Can I send a feet pic for the books instead? No!
Yeah, you can definitely. If you send a feet pic for the books.
And we got Stephen Landry. All right.
So we've got 2, and then we have 3. I'm counting the feet pics guy as a count, but he's welcome.
We should say that these are U.S. based only because I don't think we have Amazon codes for.
I'm sure if they're really in a different area, I can try to dig up the.
Okay, if you can, we'll see what we can do. Can't tell if you're curious why I've not been fired. Oh, the next book when everyone dies?
No, actually, for Apocalypse Regression, we're doing it mostly PG-13 because we want to make sure it's available for children.
Oh no, I was talking about Brian's comment. Let's see how the next book goes.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I would have fired you ages ago. I'm surprised his boss hasn't been like, I'm firing you so you write more books.
I would have. Just saying. Brian, your books are fucking great.
You're fired.
Message me.
Can you imagine if you showed up to work and your boss was like, God, your book was the best book I've ever read. And you're like, yes. He's like, so you're fired.
Fuck you, get out.
Like, what that would be like, how does that work with the Labor Bureau? Like, you show up to the Labor Bureau and like, I'd like to contest this firing. He's fired me because I'm a good writer. And it's like, don't think my boss can read job security. Oh, yeah. I don't know what your boss does, but I love the fact that I'm not even gonna lie about this. I was looking up the numbers, and like 76% of Americans do not have a 9th grade math or reading skill when they graduate high school. Like, they don't even have high school freshman math and reading skills when they graduate high school, and 40% don't even have over.
Did you say a 4th grade earlier?
Skill. Reading and math skills. I find that fucking ridiculous. Oh, see, I cussed. You did this, man. My mother's gonna watch this, and she's gonna call me up and be like, "Jesus wouldn't cuss," and I'm gonna have to suffer this because of you, man.
You're welcome.
You didn't notice the entire War Turners book, not a single cuss word. That's because my mother reads them. Yeah, you're thinking about it now, aren't you?
I am.
Cuss word. You're the recruiter for Larian Studios writing and design teams. I'm literally surrounded by. You know what? You need to
hold on. Wait, hold the fuck up, Brian.
Hold on. Brian needs to hire me so I can fix a few of the quest writing because it didn't match the characters. I was very upset. I played Baldur's Gate through like 20 times because Larian Studios is like my favorite game producer. But then I hit one quest and I was like, this quest doesn't match the writing.
Hold the fuck up.
I gotta get a job there, fix the quest, and then I can quit.
Brian, we gotta talk about this later.
Can you imagine getting I tried to apply for a creative writing job, and they said I didn't have the qualifications. I was like, "Are you kidding me? I don't have the qualifications."
One of the comments we got on on Twitch. So is he building up momentum? Last page, last paragraph, all bold characters, one big fuck.
All I needed was just one fuck.
Yep, Brian is very serious. Holy shit. Okay, Brian, get some voice actors for us, please.
Dude, I really appreciate the writers you hired for Larian, but they still made some mistakes, so you should hire me instead. Like, I'm way better. I swear I'm not just.
I would play a game written by Charles Dean.
I was actually talking about this with a friend. Is I want to take Baldur's Gate 3's engine and build it in a whole world because that was absolutely me rejecting you, man. Guess we're even for the zombie Brian. But see, that was Life of Brian.
Yeah.
That was a Monty Python reference. You just got collateral fire because your name's super common. That's not my fault.
Hey, at least he wasn't calling you. Oh, I think it was Ryan DeBruin said he kept calling Brian Scottish the entire time.
To be fair,
Don't you do it. I don't need Brian pissed off at me. He is Irish and proud.
but we do know the history of Ireland, right?
We do know the history of Ireland.
So if you call an Irish person Scottish, there's a percent chance you're right. And it's not even a small percent. And if you call an Irish person English, there's a percent chance you're right.
We love Naughty Brian.
I mean,
All right, we need to get back to the books. Okay, so we need to get a random generator going really quickly because we have 2 people entering. So we have Cornstarch and we have Stephen Landry. All right.
I'm just pointing out though that the concept of Ireland didn't even exist until
All right, you know what? Hold on.
1500s. And Ireland was the basis of War Eternus because I love Ireland. I think it's one of the greatest places to go to. And so when I did War Eternus, you'll notice all the lore is from Ireland.
All right, I'm actually going to do something a little more fun. Stephen, Corn, I need you guys to put a number on a D20 in the chat. Whoever is the closest without going over will be the winner. Please do not one-up each other because I know you guys can't see your comments. Because I'm going to share my screen. I haven't rolled yet, so don't take the number that's on the screen. All right. All right, Steven. God damn it, you guys one-upped each other. Someone pick a different number. All right, Angel's in for 11, okay. Derek, fuck off. God damn it.
Just
All
start
right, so
shouting
Steven said
numbers.
7, Corn said 8. All right, fuck. I guess we're just going with it. And we got an 11. Oh, Steven said 19. Okay. All right, cool. So numbers are locked in. All right, we got, and let's roll. 7.
On the
That was
dot.
Steven.
That was Steven originally, but I had him change it. Fuck.
Wait, he changed. Oh, he changed it.
Everyone technically went over, so we can roll again.
But Steven hit 7. It rolled 7.
Fuck. All right, Steven, you win. Steven's the winner.
It's not my fault. You don't get to pick twice. That's the rules.
True. All right. All right, Steven, you're the winner.
And I'm not just saying that because he's handsome.
So, Steven, I'll send you the codes later tonight.
Why is it insisting on doing this? Every time I go to Amazon to load something, it gives me the UK store. Dude, I played Baldur's Gate 3 again. Fuck that game. I have work to do. Dude, you can't say you can't get rid of Baldur's Gate 3. It's one of the best games ever. But
I have it on PS5 and Steam now, so
yeah, I really wish they would first release it on Xbox because I don't like Sony.
it's coming to Xbox. They announced that it was an exclusivity thing, I think.
Oh, Brian, you heard how I played my first run for Baldur's Gate 3, right? I think I was talking about it at Dragon Con.
I didn't hear about it.
Do you remember that one?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Oh, no. The first run, which, spoilers if you haven't played Dragon Ball 3. Baldur's Gate 3.
Dragon Ball's Gate.
If you haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, like the first run, I was just like, okay, so I kept taking people's side, and I'm not going to say who the good group is, but they all died. And then I realized I still needed a little bit of EXP to hit level 6.
Hold on. Does the group start with T?
What?
Does the group start with the T?
It starts with a T indeed, but the area starts with a G, and everybody in that area died.
Fucking hell. Did you just say, hey, fireball?
No, I actually got them to kill each other.
Fucking hell.
Like, if you take the right route, you can get them to kill each other completely. You can get them to, like,
Grove, bitches.
their entire... Yeah. So, like, we'll go into spoilers. Fine. Tieflings.
And druids.
The tieflings and druids will fight each other, and the druids will win.
It's
But
Act 1, so it's not that big of a spoiler.
yeah, and then the druids, when they win, there's a quest you can take where you can cause the druids to fight each other, and then there's like one left, and then you can't kill one druid by itself. Well, you're not playing right.
So okay, so what was your racing
I
class?
can't hear you. You just cut out.
Oh, what was your racing class?
Which playthrough?
That one.
I'm playing a human assassin. I always play human because they have extra carry weight.
Gotcha.
The carry weight's a big deal to me.
Okay. Joel, what are you running right
Uh,
now? I feel like I already know.
I do fighter warlock.
Half orc?
multi-class. Yeah.
Fighter warlock, but what race?
Half orc.
Oh, so you get the big crits. The big crits were
Yeah.
very tempting because I'm playing an assassin, so I was like, I was really tempted to go those big crits too, but then I was like, I have 9 strength, so I want to be able to carry anything in my future.
Fair.
That's
I
what the
am
rest of
running-
my human pack mules in my party are for.
Yeah, you
I only
gotta
have
have
one human in
your
my-
party.
in my
Get a
party.
human fighter with 20 strength, and then you're set. Like, if you get 20 strength on a human fighter, that's 300 carry weight. You're set.
I'm running right now a Drow Paladin.
Is it because of the fact? Oh, male or female?
Male.
Is it because of Minthara?
It is not.
Are you romancing Minthara?
I am.
If you had to pick between Ling, Bridget, Amber, Misha, and Ophelia, who would you pick? I'm not giving you Jade. I already know you picked that.
Son of a bitch.
Ooh.
Misha.
Ophelia.
Because your dad's rich.
And
That's a
she's
good
like Russian, so like I just dig it.
You'd be set.
Maddie, if you're watching this, I'm
No matter
sorry.
who wins.
Ophelia.
I loved Ophelia too. Is Dad's favorite warlock can show.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like I always loved doing Death's favorite warlock as the closer to that series. So
Wait, hold on. Ophelia's the redhead, right? I'm not mixing it up in my
Oh,
head,
Bridget's
right?
the redhead.
Oh, Bridget. My bad. I'm sorry.
Ophelia's the girl from the shadows.
Oh yeah, no. Bridget.
I like Ophelia because I wrote her to be a depressing.
You
know,
can see why I thought Ophelia, right?
no,
What happens at the end?
no. Ophelia is self-sacrificial, whereas Bridget is based on Bridget of Kildare, an actual historical character who had a fun history.
I swear to God. God damn it. I swear I'm getting feet pics now and I fucking hate it.
No, you don't. You
I
wouldn't have
fucking
asked.
hate it. I
You
do
did.
not like I am not Quentin Tarantino. I do not like
Dude,
like
you
feet.
say you don't like feet pics, but you don't have a leg to stand on. Nah, I'm going with that pun. I'm sticking
Brian, I'm
to
not
it.
letting you
I
go
know
back.
how cringe it was.
Is your hardcover Amazon worth or roundabout?
Hold on a second. What?
I think he's asking. I can't tell if he's asking Brian or if he's. Jeff, are you asking if it has like a sleeve or if it's just like that matted hardcover? Yeah, it's not the dust jacket one. Okay, cool. Thought so. Just wanted to make sure.
I don't understand what people's like obsession with books is. I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I know that it's really nice to have a signed book sometimes, but I'm like, I would rather people just sign like a piece of paper and then just collect all the author signatures and just be like, there we go. I've got like a piece of paper with every favorite author I have. Then have to print out and carry that around. Like, I don't know if you guys have moved a lot, but I've moved a lot in my life. I have a military wife and she dragged me from like place to place. It is a nightmare packing books. Like they break through.
Joel, do you want to tell him about the Star Wars books I brought home?
The dude carries like
I have
what,
books.
like 2 totes now, probably
Did,
worth of
did
books.
you get all the Thrawn books? Is that what it is?
Yeah. he
No,
did.
oh, I had like 48 Star Wars books I brought home.
Can I ask you a Star Wars question then?
Yeah.
Is Thrawn not like the dumbest character? Like,
And that's been it for Stats on Stats.
like he's supposed to be a genius, and they talk about how great he is, but then you're like watching this shit, and you're like, you were beat by Scooby Doo and his gang. Multiple
Ron is
times.
like my favorite character. That's
I was
not a
like, how
Jedi.
are you gonna lose to Scooby Doo's gang over and over again? You've got an entire fleet at your command, and you can't handle like rebel preteens.
Okay, heir to the Empire though, like I guess
Oh, they
non-canon.
talked about a lot of stuff he did off screen. Pretty cool. And then the stuff he did on screen, you were just like, yo, bro.
Well,
you
it was
are
a kids
not
show
really
too. Look at that. I mean, Rebels does get pretty fucking dark, but
I'm just pointing out everything he did on screen was kind of dumb. Like he could have won the rebel situation in like 5 seconds. He's like, nah, I've got to go around the worst way of doing this possible over and over and over again. Like the bad guy just like giving the kids the win. You will be a character in book 3 of my rat. Oh no, you put me in Pina Colada, aren't you?
it looks like he is.
Dude, the Pina Colada
Fucking
series.
Pina Colada.
It's one of Ramon's best works yet.
I will say, when we were down at Dragon Con, since we're talking about autographed books now, I did get Kevin Sinclair to sign my Jedi Academy trilogy.
Jedi Academy was so good.
The Jedi Academy trilogy is fan-fucking-tastic. So Kevin J. Anderson. So okay, here's how this happened, because I once I found out he was going, I was like, okay, I'm taking these books and I'm taking my Timothy Zahn books, and we were walking to, I think it was the Matt Denneman reading with Jeff, and we were walking into the Hyatt, and we were walking with Emily Godhand, and she just said, "Oh, hi, Kevin," as we were walking in, and just started talking to this guy. I was like, wait, hold on, that's Kevin J. Anderson. So I'm over here hyperventilating because that's one of my favorite authors. Huh?
I hope Timothy Zahn got paid off that book. Like I saw like the ratings and the sales on that, and I'm like thinking,
which one?
The Heir to the Empire series.
Oh yeah, that's like one of the greatest.
But I'm saying, like, I've known publishers have taken really large percentages. So I don't know if he worked with the publisher, if he published independently. But if he published 4 Star Wars, then he had to have gotten like copyright. I don't know what deal he got. I just really hope he got a good deal on that, because that was a crowning achievement for him.
I mean, he created one of the greatest characters in Star Wars. So
I mean, he tried to salvage one of the greatest characters. He tried to salvage it. It was already like
Thrawn's introduction was Heir to the Empire.
Dragged through. It was like nobody cared about Thrawn. I'm kidding.
Thrawn is his baby. He created Thrawn.
I'm just messing with you.
I was like, hold the fuck up.
I got really annoyed.
I know my Star Wars lore.
I talked to Timothy, or I talked to Zahn. I was like, okay, hey, I had a nice chat with him, and then I moved right immediately back to talking to Steve, the guy from Aethon. And my wife is a ridiculously big fan of Thrawn and that book series. So my wife wanted me to get that book and wanted me to get it signed and was willing for me to pay whatever.
Good night, Jeff.
Good night, Jeff. And she was like, anything you want to pay. Hold on a second. I'd say worth it. Story might be shite, but the book is nice and sturdy. It's story's not shite. It's Brian.
It's great.
So my wife was like willing to pay anything to get that book signed, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I will look out for him." I didn't know what he looked like, so I had a chat with him, talked about writing, and we chatted for a few minutes, and then I went and I chatted with Steve afterwards, and then I talked to Steve today because I find out, or it's not today, last week I talked to Steve, and I was like, Steve, I heard you worked with Timothy, like, you know, maybe you can help me get a signed autograph book. He's like, dude, you talk to him, you idiot. I was like, what? Oh, no.
I didn't. So I had 2 hardbacks of the Thrawn duology, Spectres of the Past and Visions of the Future, in my backpack with me, and I didn't run into Timothy at all, and I was very upset. The only reason I met Kevin was because Jay Boyce and Emily both texted him and was like, hey, we have someone who wants to meet you really bad. And when I finally met him, I'm over here hyperventilating because
blood, man.
Some of my favorite books growing up, they were like my first like Star Wars books. I read Heir to the Empire, and then I read Jedi Academy. I almost said Quest Academy.
Lucky,
I can't get Brian's book out of my head.
I love Jedi Academy, but my favorite book authors are all dead. That's what happens when you're old. Like you read Terry Pratchett, you read Brian Jacques, and you're just like, oh, cool. I've got like a whole bunch of authors I loved, and then they're all dead before I.
Now I just got to meet R.A. Salvatore. So.
Oh no! Don't even do that.
No.
We're not bringing these up. Come on, man. You know what? Let's just move on subject because dead authors is too depressing.
All right. Okay, so We've done Apocalypse. We've done War Eternus. So
Did
I
we do
think
Apocalypse? I told you the summary. Did you have any questions on it? Oh,
I'm
you
just
have
about
no,
to
because
get
I'm gonna
started
pick
on
it up
that
and I'm
one.
gonna read it,
Yeah.
and then I will ask you questions.
Hmm. Well, you're going to enjoy it. It's a trainer. So his class
All right.
is literally all about lifting, and it's all about. I'm actually wearing the shirt right now.
I was gonna ask if you were wearing the Apocalypse shirt because you had that on at Dragon Con too.
I love the shirt that we had where it was a joke. There was a Harry Potter meme going around, and we were like, "This totally works for our book," and so we adapted it and changed it a little bit. It's like there's no good or evil. There's only weight, and those too weak to lift it. And it's got the
Have you
main
guys read
character.
any Raymond E. Feist? Is it
What is
Feist?
it? I have not read any Raymond E. Feist.
I have not either. At least I don't think so.
You guys can also get the t-shirts, by the way. They're on our store. Singleplayerbooks.com.
I'm broke as fuck right now.
It's actually a thing. I looked up the savings in Americans, and the aggregate savings for American citizens in 2021 was $2.1 trillion. A lot of savings.
That's all like
The aggregate savings in 2023 is, after adjustments, $142 billion.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we've gone from 2.1 to 142. They initially said it was 190 billion, but then they did I actually checked the adjustments, and they were like, no, we think that was grossly overestimating the aggregate savings. So
All right.
that was fun.
Well, we've
and we're
gone over
also,
our hour mark that we
Go ahead.
go. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say we're also releasing a new book soon too. On top of the Apocalypse Regression is absolutely the series I would recommend people to check out the most if they haven't ever read anything from me. I love the War Eternus series. It's super fun, but it's also an old series. If you want something that is featuring more modern taste, I think Apocalypse Regression is good. But we're also coming out with another series. Did you ever read Redwall when you were a kid?
I did. My school library had them, and I loved them very much.
Okay, so we have this series for free on Royal Road right now, and that's why I was going to mention it early before it goes out. It's called Shadow Agency, and it's if you look under Royal Road under single player books, you're going to find. I can even probably provide a link, and we've got it all free to read.
Sure.
Yeah, it's Shadow Agency by Mark Carlson. And so I was working with Mark, and we've done a great job of putting that book back together. Mark is an incredibly talented writer, and I'm really happy about everything he does. So I was excited to get a chance to work on him with that book.
Hold on, with Sound Booth Theater Audio, Jeff, are you announcing that you're doing Sound Booth stuff? Or an audiobook for it.
Shadow Agency, we did get to do it with Sound Booth Theater, and it's really good. I shouldn't be talking up other authors this entire time, but it is absolutely an amazing series.
No, okay. So here's the thing. That's one thing we do on the show is we give praise to other authors. We love doing that, and we're gonna bring up authors all the time. So big fucking excited.
I like the so it is basically this guy is a badger, and so he has he's a badger person. Oh yeah, Zachary Johnson does a great job. We've heard nothing but great things about him. He's a wonderful narrator.
My freaking mentor. Anyways, continue.
And he does this.
I love Zach.
He kicks butt with this because it's this badger person that has really poor eyesight, and so he uses smell and other senses to see stuff. And Mark really nails what it feels like for the badger guy to go through experiencing stuff by just smell and touch. And so it's kind of interesting. So somebody who's blind in real life, I have terrible vision, I struggle, I don't even drive usually. To get the pleasure to read a book where I felt like the main character can definitely empathize with me, and the main character goes through that struggle because of his racial system, because badgers have terrible eyesight. So he makes the badgers and thing, and each race, and I mean race this time because they're different. I guess species this time. Each species has its own unique thing, and it's really freaking cool how he puts it together and how they learn their skills. And it just felt like I was reading Redwall as a kid again.
So Cornstarch asked, is the badger character based on your youth being blind, as you mentioned earlier?
This isn't my book. This is Mark Carlson's.
And then he said, "Oh wait, that's not your big
Yeah,
ignore me."
yeah. Sorry, guys. If you drink a
And
lot of
then
alcohol, remember to hydrate.
I always hydrate.
Yeah, but you're not drinking alcohol.
No,
so-
this book actually sounds really fucking good. My poor to be read list is fucking atrocious.
Well, it's got a
but
5-star on Royal
it's-
Road for a reason. People seem to love it when they actually
Well,
try it.
and I mean,
Attention.
and here's the thing. Anytime a book by a narrator I really enjoy drops, I tend to kind of drop books on accident so I can go to that book. And now that I know Zach Johnson and Jeff Hayes is playing a bad guy in it, this is gonna be a day one purchase for me. When does this drop? Because I need it now.
I think it comes out in October. Actually,
I
let me
need to
double check my emails.
I
Let me
need
double
this-
check my emails.
because I need this book. But while you're doing that, we have one last question from Stephen Landry. What advice would you give to new authors?
Oh, I wouldn't give them any advice. They can just like not compete with me, and that'd be great. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
God damn.
If I could give advice to new authors, it'd be just to like throw
Jeffrey,
your-
welcome in.
try not to get paid at first. Like I feel like you should always try to build an audience before you should try to get paid. Like even I know that you see the Lit RPG Legions and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, look at this guy's first book, and it's doing super well." These are people who have been like groomed across Royal Road. They have an audience. They have a background. They picked up their stuff before they went. When I was first moving to Amazon, I had like 700,000 like readers on Google like the Google service, Blogspot. We had a little tracker, and it was fun to watch people like that tracker go up. It is absolutely imperative if you're a new author to accept criticism every way possible at every point and to take it and figure out, because you might be sensitive about something and you're like, man, this is really works and I'm super smart and I'm great and I can totally do this. That's not how it works though.
Also,
Your
that
stuff
most
probably
you're a
sucks a
large
little bit.
beard.
You can always use a little bit of improvement. Even if you're a great writer and you can write a book that's going to get a 4.6, if you just put it out first, you're going to get some feelers and you're going to get a 4.7 or you're going to get a 4.8. Be open to criticism, build your audience, build your story around your audience. Don't try to build your story around another person's audience. Don't try to build your story around you. Build your story around your
Welcome in.
audience. And then once you've got your audience cultivated, then start dropping the books. That's the advice I would give. Because if you take your story to Royal Road and you get a lot of feedback and they're going to tear your stuff apart, Royal Road is brutal. Like they don't like people. They're
They are very brutal.
Well, they're nice people, but they're very critical because they don't view you as a person. They view you as an investment of their time. They gave you an hour of their time. They paid for a product with their time. If they don't get a return, they're very critical about it because it's the only commodity that they have control over is their time. And so they're much more likely to be harsh than people who paid with money, because when people pay with money, they've already purchased the product up front.
Right.
They don't, the investment is already made. So they're more likely to be nice to you because in their mind, it's like you've already purchased the cheeseburger. You might as well enjoy it. Whereas with the Royal Road, every single bite is unique. Every single bite, you have to talk them into it. You don't get them to, like, they don't buy the cheeseburger and then eat the whole thing because they've already purchased it. You bring them a cheeseburger and they start eating it. And if they don't like a bite, they stop right there. They're like, this part had too much mayo. Screw you. There's too much mayo on this part. You have to convince them every step of the way. And I think that's more valuable as an author, to make sure you have that feedback, to make sure you know where your parts don't work, to make sure you see where you lose people. Like, and you'll find out where you lose people really quick because your metrics will go like, I had 400 reads, I had 400 reads, I had 320 reads. And you'll be like, lost 80 people there. I lost X percentage of my audience there. Well, in that case, it's like 80. So, like 20% of my audience right there. You know where it's wrong. And I think that's where you, like, if you take that advice and you figure out what's wrong and you talk to the people and you work with your audience and you build your audience, by the time you publish, they're going to be more likely to purchase your product, which is going to give you the Amazon rankings you need to push your product even further. And your product is going to be more likely to at least hit one genre.
Last question from Steven. Last question. Underwater Dungeons. Yes or no?
Yes. I think underwater dungeons are great if you can pull it off. I had an underwater dungeon in Heroic Villain.
That one was good. That one was really good.
And I think underwater dungeons, if you tailor the struggle of having to be the guy who's playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the arcade around the reader instead of being the Teenage Mutant Ninja arcade level around the reader, you're going to win. So if you sit there and you go, hey, I want to write a story where I'm writing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade, well, the underwater dungeon. Now we all know that one. When I say that, that's not like thing. So we'll call it Underwater 1. Underwater dungeons are hard for dialogue. No, you can just make a magical ability, problem solved. Like they can just type to each other. You can use a magic ability. There's always some way to get around the dialogue issue. It's not even a problem. But when you're writing the underwater dungeon, if you were tailoring it around the difficulties of the dungeon, it's going to be a good experience because it raises the tensions immediately. We've all been in that situation where we're playing a game and we're doing an underwater dungeon and we fucking hate it. It is awful because it's super hard. You die really quick. You have low control of your characters. And these are all great things as a writer for tension points, but they're not fun things. And so if you tailor the whole dungeon right, like if you tailor it around the difficulties, you're going to do well. But if you tailor it around being that dungeon, you're going to do poorly. So you have to like try to inject some fun things into it. You've got to try to make it an entertaining dungeon. And you've got to try to like make the player empathize with the character's struggle while still making the dungeon entertaining. So I highly recommend you have like, I guess, just make a fun monster and then make the player struggle and then come up with an innovative way to kill it. I think we had a lot of positive feedback from our Heroic Villain dungeon, and I had a ton of positive feedback from the underwater struggle and Upgrade Apocalypse during book 2 when they're going through the aquarium.
All right.
So you can make it work. Underwater dungeons are yes, and it's going to break up the monotony of your book because you're going to be taking your character into a area where they're not normally used to function. In video games, they're a no.
All right.
Because in video games, you're asking the character to change their entire way of functioning.
That's fair.
Like they're interacting with the game in a way that they're not comfortable with.
All right. Okay. Well, we have hit an hour and a half. We should start wrapping up. Before we do our what you've been reading, because we got a lot, because it's been a month since our last show.
Echo the Dolphin, anyone? Echo the Dolphin was really fun, but that worked because the entire game was underwater. So the entire platform was built around being underwater. The reason it doesn't work in other games is because you've got a good game and then you're adding underwater mechanics. So you're switching up the way in which a player operates with the game. And for the majority of people, they don't like changing things, much less changing their entire way of acting with the environment. And they don't like changing things to where they slow down. This is a good example of this would be Path of Exile had really fast gameplay. And then for one of the seasons, they tried to slow things down and people freaking hated it. They did not want to have slower numbers. They didn't want to have slower characters. They didn't want to have slower damage to the done. They didn't want to have health sponge bosses. They wanted things to be fast because they were used to fast. Mm-hmm. And the only reason things were fast was because 2 seasons ago, they had sped things up, but they couldn't slow them back down. So you can't go underwater in a video game because you're slowing things down. People want to keep at the pace and what they're used to.
I just had a reply to that really quickly. I think that's why a lot of people that start with Diablo 3 and then go back to Diablo 2 hate Diablo 2 because everything in Diablo 3 is fast-paced and you're just murdering shit on the screen, where in Diablo 2 it's a little more slower.
I think it's also the graphics.
Huh?
I think it's also the graphics.
It could be.
I loved Last Epoch. I thought it was a really fun game. I was very much enjoying it. And then after Last Epoch came out, Diablo 4 came out, and I could not go back to Last Epoch because the graphics were so bad compared to Diablo 4. And so even though I think Last Epoch...
Shout out to Blitzball.
Oh, Blitzball is the best minigame.
Fuck yeah.
I'm going to point this out. I spent way too many hours perfecting my Blitzball.
I don't always prefer better graphics Baldur's Gate 2 versus Baldur's Gate 3, for instance.
You might not. There's a lot of people who prefer things to be slower. They prefer worse graphics. They don't like. There are thresholds where people are met, but it's just like when you're writing a book. Right. You're not worried about every individual reader. Like I have a reader who loves everything I write. That doesn't mean everything I write sells well, nor is a good book.
That's fair.
I wrote Merchant of Tikpa 1 and 2, and I love Merchant of Tikpa, which is the Bathrobe Knight series continuation. So the Bathrobe Knight
I've
occurs.
not read any of the Bathrobe Knight.
The guy starts off with it's a portal isekai that I published. I started publishing in 2014.
Oh wait, no, I've read the first book. No, I have read the first book.
Okay,
I have the... So
my favorite game is still Oblivion, the game of potato people. I'm sorry that's your favorite game, man. I apologize. I'll work on getting you a good computer.
Kingdom Hearts 2 is still my favorite game of all time.
You guys don't know this, but Brandon Hagg is one of the nicest, best people you'll ever meet in your life.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorite people. He's got the... I was so nice that I brought down a 12-pack of Big Red for him.
I plan on just stealing him at one point and just keeping him over here, and we're just gonna have barbecue day in and day out.
He grew up 10 minutes or 20 minutes away from me, and so when he comes up to visit, we're coming to hang out. We're gonna take a nice little road trip over to you because you're like a 2.5 hour drive for me.
You'll blink twice if you're still awake.
I've been awake all day and night, so.
You didn't take a nap like you fucking told me you were going to?
I did not. Last night, and I would like to say that the reason I only got 3 hours of sleep is I'm married.
I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 all night and went out today and stayed up.
Can I get you on Steam so we can play together sometime?
Hell yeah.
I'll send you our Steam codes.
Awesome. I need to get you guys on Discord, though, because I rarely use Facebook compared to Discord. I think Discord is absolutely the best messaging system.
I love Discord. If I'm not mistaken, I think I'm in the Discord.
You may be in the...
I can find you.
I'm in the original Discord.
Right. I made a new one, and it's a good one, but it's also very brutal, which is why we had to shamefully kick Brandon Hogg from it. I apologize, man.
Yes, Brandon, come up so we can go visit Charles.
I keep forgetting you can play that game. Oh, the funnest Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough we've done is we did 4 people. Each one of us is playing a warlock. Each one of us got dark vision.
So you just blinded everything for combat.
And let me remind you that you do not need an arrow, or you do not need a spell for dark vision. You can use an arrow. There's like a million of them in the game. So
they're
you can
everywhere
and make darkness clouds everywhere with arrows that do not use concentration.
Guys, as much as I love this, we have to end the show. We've crossed the threshold of an hour and a half.
Okay, and you can also just make 4 barbarians and run around throwing each other as weapons if you make yourself short. So if you make 4 halfling barbarians, you can toss each other as weapons.
Jeff, I'm sorry. All right, so giveaways. Over on Twitter right now at Stats on Stats Lit, we are doing a giveaway for one of the audiobooks for Dungeon Crawler Carl. Matt Denneman gave us the option to enter. All you have to do is send a cat pic, meme, GIF, whatever, or artwork. Give away Charles' Steam name. Jeff, I'll just privately message it to you. It's fine. No. Do not fucking send feet pics. My notifications are being blown up with feet pics right now, and I hate it. I fucking hate it. Quit sending me feet pics. Please.
You said that let me tell you guys these.
Huh?
Oh no, I'm so sorry about that. That was my fault. I forgot to. If you send him like 1 million feet pics, he will count each one as a vote.
I hate this. I hate it so much.
But remember, if you send him feet pics with toe rings, they count as 2 votes.
I fucking hate it.
If the feet have tattoos.
God.
If the feet
Anyways, we are picking the winner next Monday.
And toe rings.
We're picking the winner next Monday. And the winner will get to choose either Eye of the Bedouin Bride, or if they haven't started Dungeon Crawler Carl or just missing any of the books, we'll give them the next book that they're missing. So you have a chance to win one of the books for Dungeon Crawler Carl. We're announcing that next Monday. Speaking of which, next Monday we have Kevin Sinclair on the show, where we will be talking Rise of Ashbab.
Literally, we just talked about how he was like one of the greatest authors ever, and you're like, oh, we're having him next Monday. You bring it up now after like an hour of us talking about how great he is.
Yeah, Kevin Sinclair next Monday. Because we're also going to be disclosing next Monday how to do the entry for the Artem giveaway. So
Oh, we're not letting him in the stream. We're just gonna keep going till he dies.
fucking hate it here. I fucking hate it here.
He's like, I'm talking to Charles, and I hate this bald bastard.
We're
Like,
3
this
hours
bald-
in, and I'm just like hunched over.
And then fucking hate it here. I need a drink.
Too.
Originally it was scheduled for the 23rd, but I forgot Guildify-Con was going on during that time, so I'm gonna have to see if we can move it up to the Monday before on the 16th. We have Shami Stovall coming on the show, where we will be talking Nexus games and all of her books, and I believe John might be joining as well. I'm not sure.
Shammy and John are amazing.
They're fantastic people. And then at the end of the month, now that Joel is here and I can tell him, we have the amazing J Boyce joining us for our Halloween episode. So, Joel.
She was on earlier. Why did you not just...
Because I save it for the end of the fucking episode.
Hype. Real hype.
So,
I love
yes.
Jay.
We have J Boyce coming on, and that is our October schedule as of right now. Oh my god. I fucking hate it here. I'm not even putting the chat on the screen anymore. I just no. So Joel,
Go
what
ahead.
have you been reading?
Is it bad
should
that I
ask
actually know how to
Charles
read
first.
wingdings?
Hold on, Charles. What?
I said, is it bad that I actually used to know how to read wingdings? Brandon was saying he's going to do the entire thing in wingdings, and I was like, is it bad I used to know how to read that?
I hate it here.
All right.
So,
I
Joel, what you been
have
reading?
been reading, not just like, listening. End of the World, Book 2 by Aaron Oster. It is fantastic. Basically,
Can't wait for the audio for that one.
yeah.
Justin, shout out Justin.
He goes back in time and has
I
this
am an adult.
prior knowledge of this like 10 realms esque world, and apparently the best means of transportation are fucking scooters. Don't know why. Literally any other means of transportation would have been cooler, but no, they go with fucking scooters. Other than that, Chrysalis. Jeff Hayes is still in here. He does that one. Book 4.
Which book are you on for Chrysalis?
Book 4, I think.
Okay.
So I'm currently in the middle of reading that, and then I also finished Primal Hunter Book 7, which was fantastic. That was what I've been reading. What I've been listening to, other than catching up on War Turnus. Deathloot and Vampires was a fantastic read, and if
I need to
you're
listen to
looking
it.
for one for like a spooky October lit RPG read, Deathloot and Vampires is gonna be like right up your alley. I freaking love it. It's got like 800 something 5-star reviews on like Audible already, and it shows. Other than that, Quest Academy was fantastic. And I can't wait to have Brian on to talk about that one. Yeah.
Oh, Jeff replied back to you. Doing back-to-back books for book 4 and 5 starting at the end. So you got book 3 then.
Heck yeah. No, I read book 4. It's on Kindle.
Oh, did you do the Kindle? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking audio. My bad.
No, I read it. But other than that, Tenacity, book
9.
yeah, not whatever it is, 9 of Completionist Chronicles. I am loving this arc of
gonna be
like
good.
Jotunheim. It is, oof,
It's going to be good.
it's gonna be good. But
Trollhome. Come
huh?
on, we use English here. It's Trollhome.
Troll Zone.
No,
Trollhome.
Jotun, Troll.
Oh yeah,
Time.
yeah.
Home.
Frost Giants.
That
Yeah,
makes
it's
sense.
three trolls. Jotunheim.
I'm not caught up on my Yule
Let's also
Nordic
let's
language.
not forget that there's like 4 versions of Loki. Like, you know, you've got Loki with Garda, Skrimir Loki. Like, you've got a whole bunch of them. And I don't know how to pronounce any of these, so I'm sure some like Swedish person is gonna be like really.
This
pissed
stream's
off.
never ending.
Charles, or I guess Rich is back. Rich, what you been listening to?
We'll ask Charles. Charles, what you been reading?
Oh no, I'll go last. So that way you can just cut me off like in the middle of my sentence. That's how you should do it. If I was you, I'm not going to deny you the pleasure of waiting.
We are not a Sopranos episode, okay?
Like, no, you can fade to black me, man. I respect the heck out of you. I'm going to give you this one.
No.
Notice I'm still not cussing.
What have you been reading, Charles? Come on.
I'm going to shamefully say I've been reading a lot of manhwa.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
So I picked up, like I've already mentioned, I picked up Stovall's books on the way to Dragon Con, and on the way back, I got Brian's books because Brian was absolutely inspiring in real life, and I wanted to see if he was just as good on paper. He's better. And then for manhwas, I've been reading, and I know this is terrible. It's just the I Am the Fated Villain. I think that is freaking really good right now. Martial God Regressed. The King or the Night King Who Returned is pretty good. Revenge of the Iron Blooded Sword is kind of picking back up. I'm hoping it salvages itself. I've got like a dozen of them, but really, like in terms of actual lit RPG, I've also have been going over I've been forced to go over the Shadow Agency, and then I picked up a new book recently that is a little bit hard to find. I don't know the exact name of it. I've just got it saved on my Royal Road. But it's a fun little story about this guy who's trying to reconnect with his daughter.
Okay.
And it's a lit RPG about that.
Fuck yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. I'm shamelessly messaging the author being like, no one's discovered you yet. Would you like to be published?
Well, I'd read it.
Yeah. Is this the Shadow Agency sequel already in progress? Well, Shadow Agency has 3 books out, and I read all 3. And I'm going to tell you something. The guy who wrote it's a bit of an asshole to me. Like, he made a character named Charles and then did a whole bunch of awful stuff with this character named Charles, and I'm sitting here like, the fuck did I do to you, bro? I thought we were friends at 2, Brutus. I was so pissed off about that.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. But no, those actually sound really good. I'm excited. I hope that one actually gets publishing because that one actually sounds really good. I might have to read the manhwa for it.
I was just so mad though. I was like looking at it and I was seeing my character or my name being dragged through the mud, and he had the gall to sit there and tell me to my face. He's like, "Oh, I didn't even think of you when I made a character named Charles and made him really evil."
All right.
Rebellion.
All right.
He's got them.
Make sure I'm cast as the person giving Charles shit.
You should
Brandon, no, fuck off. See, I can end the stream whenever, so I don't care. Fuck off. Anyways, so I have been reading, as some of you have seen my ridiculous bookshelf, for the books I picked up at Dragon Con. I started with Arcane Cultivator by Harmon Cooper, and it is fucking fantastic. I had read it on Kindle, and then I got the paperback, and I was like, oh, nope, got to read it now. I've been reading that, and then I'm currently in the process of reading Oshbob. It's really good. Oh, I read The Dying Breed by T.J. Lombardi, and that was fucking awesome. That one was really good, and I can't wait for the next one to come out. For audio, I did Quest Academy's Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 6 because
Yeah, I don't
shout
know
out
why
to
I
Jeff.
didn't mention that.
Yeah, why didn't you mention it, you jackass?
Because I read it beforehand, and then
True.
I listened to it.
Have you guys listened to the studio remaster that the Sound Booth Theater's done for?
Yes, on the actual Sound Booth app. Shout
Just
out
what
to
Richie
Sound Booth
has
Theater
shown
for
me
the
of that.
audio immersion tunnel. It is fucking awesome.
Oh,
I've-
it is.
I've already
really
pre-ordered the like the rest of the episodes.
I got the privilege of having to listen to those at 3 a.m. at Dragon Con because they were playing them over the loudspeaker and I was crashing with them. And I'm going to tell you, it was fantastic.
It's fucking awesome. It
They
is so
took the
fucking
story
good.
from here and they just elevated it like crazy. The sound effects they added,
hmm
the
different narrations.
were on point. The sound effects were added. Everything was wonderful, and I it was good enough to where I forgave them for keeping that on until like 4 or 5 in the morning.
It was good. It was so fucking good. I loved it.
Beautiful work.
I read Into the World because Joel had me read that because Aaron Oster and plus Justin Thomas James, and I believe I want to say Dory does that one as well. No, Tiana, and then of course Jeff. what I'm currently listening to is Dungeon in the Clouds, which is Sambo's newest drop, and it is fucking awesome. Ollie, have a good night. I'm currently listening to Dungeon in the Clouds, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I finished Tenacity. It was really good. I did a re-listen of Implode to get ready for Tenacity, and then I did Ravenous by David Petrie because I got a signed copy of it, and I've had that in my library, and I couldn't remember if I had listened to it or not. So I read it. It's good. Quest Academy, which shout out to Brian, and shout out to Daniel Wisniewski, fucking killer narrator. I love him to death. He is an absolute gem. Jeff Hayes said JTJ is narrating more lately. He's got a lot of stuff coming up. I can't wait to be behind on more reviews. I'm excited. I am so fucking excited because my backlog is never going to die. That's my Dark Souls boss. My never-ending backlog.
Well, and to be fair, we've got to get like the re-editions by Brian Norden reading them all.
True, we do need the Brianified.
And we need to get like an angry Irish redhead to also pair up with him and read them properly. Like, because you got to have dual narration. And the only way to do it is to get an incredibly angry Irish redhead to match his incredibly smooth and calm demeanor.
Oh, I don't know if I mentioned this for when we did our last episode, but Jackson, the latest books in Everybody Loves Large Chests was fucking awesome.
Everybody does love large chests. I've heard about that.
It's really good. And Geneva said, Rachel, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name because I will butcher it and I will feel awesome. And then Geneva said she's a Chaos Goblin. So that checks.
Is it Twerk? I don't even know how to say that. Twerk? Chirka? I'm good.
I don't want to butcher the name. Do you have any trade route? Keykirk.
Oh my gosh.
Or Neekirk. Neekirk.
The Wand Dynasty
Rachel Neekirk.
Chinese trade, like when it fell, like the trade routes really did significantly.
All right. Anyways, guys, so this has been our episode of Stats on Stats. We want to thank everyone for tuning in and harassing me. Can't wait to see all
feet pictures. Remember that you can send them to him for the end of the year. Every giveaway he does will include.
I fucking hate it here.
At some point.
I fucking hate it here. I'm gonna go with Matt.
Toe rings with tattoos count for 3 points.
All right. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. This has been Stats on Stats. I'm just going to mute Charles really quickly so he can continue talking. I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. We hope to see you next Monday. We're going to be adjusting the time. It's probably going to be about 4 o'clock, 4 p.m., maybe 5, because Kevin's over the pond, so we gotta figure out the time zone. So it'll be about 4 or 5 o'clock Eastern time, because we don't want to keep him up all night. But everyone, thank you for tuning in. Charles, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it. It was such a pleasure to meet you at Dragon Con. Thank you for all the wonderful books. We absolutely love you.
Bye.
Joel, fuck you.
Are we ending it yet?
I just ended it. Joel, are you ended it on yours?